Hello everyone, and welcome to another very special episode of SWAGourmet. Our last episode was our Thanksgiving episode, but of course, right after Thanksgiving comes Christmas, which actually was 2 weeks ago. So this is SWAGourmet after Christmas. I'm bringing you a few recipes that I cooked for my family for Christmas dinner. I can't wait to do so. Kitchen's that way, so that's where I'm headed. Alright, so Christmas might be over, but I'm still feeling quite festive, hence my Santa hat and the fake presents scattered throughout the kitchen. So, I'm going to bring you two of the side dishes I made for my family on Christmas. You know, you can go make a turkey or a ham as your main course, and you can use my sides. Two dishes I'm going to bring you. First, apple sausage mac and cheese, which is a great recipe, especially for the holidays. And second, roasted green beans. The green beans are really quick and easy and really delicious. But they're quite simple, so we'll do that at the end, so we'll start with our mac and cheese. I went ahead and boiled one box, which was about 1 pound of pasta shell. I used the medium shells you can find in your local supermarket, which look like this. I believe with most brands they're called medium shells, so just look for those at your supermarket. So I went ahead and boiled that and drained that, so we'll use that pasta when we're ready, but first we have to start working on our sauce, so let's go over to the stove. Alright, so our stove is on medium-high heat. We don't want to burn anything, so it's on medium-high. And so our first thing we're going to add into this pot, some butter. 3 tablespoons of butter, right into our pot. Doesn't need to be melted or anything, it'll melt once it gets in there. Alright, and the pot we're using is like this. Alright, then right after we add the butter, I have a ½ cup of diced yellow onion. I'm going to add that right in there. We always like to add our onion first because with the butter, the onions will start to develop a great flavor, and they're going to sweat in there, and they're going to start to become translucent, which will be our indication that we can start adding the rest of our ingredients. So I'm just going to stir the pot a little bit here. You don't want your onions to start to brown, not yet. Alright, so our onions have begun to sweat, and boy, I tell you, onions cooking in butter, great holiday smell. Anyway, so now it's time to add ½ cup of diced red bell pepper. It's going to add some great color, red Christmas color. Yeah. We'll add that right in. And we'll let that cook until the red bell peppers start to become tender. That'll take around 2 minutes, so we'll let that continue to cook. Alright, so our red bell peppers have gotten nice and tender. If you give them a poke, they're really tender, which is good. And so now we can add our next ingredient. Since this is apple sausage mac and cheese, we're going to add our apple sausage. So what we have here, I got this from the supermarket. You can find it at your local supermarket. It's a smoked chicken apple sausage. So we have the great apple flavor, which we'll not only get from here, but from some apple juice later on. So we have a great apple flavor. It's chicken, so it's healthy for you. And it's going to give us a great smoky flavor as well. I have 6 ounces right here. I sliced it and then cut each little round in half. So we have half round. And so I'm going to dump those into the pot so they can begin to brown. Our sausage is beginning to get nice and golden, nice and crispy, which is good. So now we can move on and add our next ingredient, which will be 2 teaspoons of mustard powder. Now, mustard powder really is what mustard is made from, or it's made from mustard seed, which is now in powdered form once you grind it up. So we have some mustard powder. So imagine the flavor being similar to mustard, so a great tangy, savory flavor to add in here. So we're going to add that in and stir it in. 2 teaspoons. The smells are great too. The onions with the butter, the bell peppers, and the sausage and the mustard powder. Delicious. Alright, now after we've added our mustard powder, the next ingredient, we have a half a teaspoon each of cayenne pepper to add some spice, and some paprika, another great savory spice, which it has a great smoky flavor, which will go with the sausage that we added. So we have half a teaspoon of paprika, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. So the macaroni and cheese will have some heat, but not too much. If you want to leave this out, you can leave out the cayenne pepper if you don't want all that spice. Or if you like spicy, then add a little bit more. But yes, so again, that's half a teaspoon of paprika and half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Both are really common spices you can find in your supermarket. And again, we'll mix this up. Be sure to be gentle so you don't damage your sausage. Keep it whole, which is good. You don't want to break up the pieces too much. Okay, so our next ingredient is going to be 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Now remember, what we're working on here is going to end up being our cheese sauce. And whenever you start a sauce, a really common base is some flour. It's what thickens the sauce and will help bring it together. So we're going to add that in and stir it up. 1/4 cup all-purpose flour. Almost like snow falling on Christmas. And again, it's really important that you don't stir too much. Be gentle with the sausage so you don't break up the pieces. And you'll notice that the ingredients in here, like the sausage and the onions and the peppers, it's going to turn almost into a thicker consistency because of this flour, so don't be alarmed if that happens. It may start clumping together, but you just have to be gentle. But it's all normal because you're adding flour. And it's going to help bring our cheese sauce together and make it thicker, which is a good thing. Alright, so we'll let everything in our pot cook a little bit more, get really nice and toasty for about 2 more minutes, then we'll add our apple juice. Alright, so everything in here is getting nice and toasty, so now we'll add our apple juice. Apple juice, great, especially in the winter when you drink apple cider. Apple's a great ingredient, so no surprise we want to use it in this Christmas dish. So we have 3 cups. This is going to help really make the sauce a sauce. And since we added our flour, that's going to help thicken it. Just pour that right in. And then just start stirring gently. And we want to let everything in here, our sauce, we want to let it cook until it thickens just a little bit. So continue stirring for about 5 to 8 minutes because we want our sauce to start looking like a sauce. So once you see that it's starting to get thick as you're stirring it, then you can move on to our cheese. So as you can see, our sauce is beginning to thicken slightly, coming to a nice sauce consistency, and we're just about ready to add our cheese. Alright, so this is our cheese bowl. In this bowl, I have 2 cups, or at your local supermarket, it's probably 1 pack of very finely shredded, sharp cheddar cheese. Also, I have 3 cups of Colby Jack cheese, and in addition to that, I have 1.5 cups of grated Asiago cheese. So you've probably heard of your cheddar and your Colby Jack. Those are pretty standard for your macaroni and cheese, you know, yellowish orange cheese. But the Asiago cheese has a nutty flavor, almost like the Parmesan cheese. Very similar. And so that's going to add another dimension of flavor to our mac and cheese. And so the key when we're adding our cheese is we must add it very slowly, or else when we add it, it'll clump up and it's all going to form a huge, massive clump of cheese. And believe me, it will happen. It's happened to me before. So the key to avoiding that is stirring it in and adding it in very slowly. Alright, so I'm going to stir with one hand while I pour the cheese with my other hand. And we have a lot of cheese in here if you added up all those cups of cheese. So we're just going to eyeball it and add about 3/4 cup of what we have in here. And the remaining 1/4 we're going to use to top our tray of macaroni and cheese before we add it into the oven. So just eyeball it. Again, I'm going to add really slowly and while we're stirring the sauce. And the reason I went with the finely grated cheese was because that's going to make it really easy to melt into our sauce, which makes it easier for us. Alright, so that's all the cheese we need to add, and if you want to take a look how much I left over, just about how much I feel like would be good to sprinkle on top of our macaroni before we stick it in the oven. So all our cheese is added. Now, we had already boiled our pasta, so I'll grab that. It's right here. And actually what I did as it was sitting and we were working on the sauce, I saved back some of the pasta water and I periodically just hit it with some water to refresh it a little bit, keep it moist so it doesn't all clump up and stick together. So our pasta is good to go. What we're going to do with our pasta, we're going to add it right to our pot of sauce. And after we add the pasta and we mix it in, I have half a cup of some sour cream I'm going to add in there, just get it nice and creamy, another element in there. So I'll go ahead and add the pasta. Again, add it slowly and stir gently so you don't break the pasta, but just get it nice and combined. So we'll add that. Alright, and since our sauce has gotten kind of thick, adding the sour cream will help thin it out a little bit, so it'll be nice. Alright, so for our sour cream, you actually have some flexibility. Sour cream and Greek plain yogurt are very similar. They're mild in flavor, yet a little bit tangy, and they have the same creamy texture, so really they do the same job. So if you have Greek yogurt and you'd rather use that over the sour cream, that's perfectly fine. I have a mixture here, just because I didn't have enough sour cream. So that's perfectly fine. They're practically the same in flavor and texture. So just bring it up to half a cup. So half a cup of sour cream, or half a cup of Greek yogurt, or half a cup of them combined. And we'll just add that into our pasta and sauce and stir that well. And your stove can be off at this point, by the way. As soon as we were done adding the cheese, I went ahead and turned the stove off, so you can do that as well. Alright, so I went ahead and transferred our pot of macaroni and cheese over here to our workstation on the island. Keep in mind the pot will probably be kind of hot, so I have some things to set it on right here so it doesn't damage the counter, and watch your hands too in case it's really hot. So, I went ahead and grabbed our baking pan because we're now going to finish it off a little bit and then stick it in the oven, let it bake. It won't take too long, but it'll just be a great way to finish a dish. So I have a 3-quart Pyrex pan right here. I have our macaroni and cheese, which looks amazing. And I'm going to go ahead and add that in to our dish. Oh, it smells so good. You have the smoky aroma from the sausage and from the paprika we added. We have this sweet aroma from the apple juice and the apple in the sausage. The kick from the cayenne pepper. And the cheese is a great savory flavor and smell with our mustard powder as well. Get all that cheesy goodness out of there. And the sausage goodness. Alright, so all our macaroni is now in our dish. Now here comes some fun parts. So what we're going to start with, we have the leftover cheese. We're going to go ahead and sprinkle that all around. Be generous with the cheese. It's Christmas. Well, it was Christmas 2 weeks ago. Still counts. Alright, so before we've added all that leftover cheese, we'll save back a little bit and we'll use it 1 minute. But what we're going to do now, we're going to make some homemade cracker crumbs. So we're going to put this right on top, so it's going to add some crunch on top of our macaroni. And it'll brown up really nicely, get really crunchy when you stick them in the oven. And really for this, lots of options. Whatever your favorite types of crackers are, go ahead and add those. And the way we're going to crumble them, just get a sandwich bag like this one. Pour our crackers in there. Seal up this bag, and then have fun with this. It's pretty good. Doesn't have to be too fine. Now, just pour this on top of our macaroni, spread it out. Beautiful, beautiful. Get all that in there. Okay, now we'll get the cheese that we had saved a little bit there, and we'll just add that right on top before we stick it in the oven. So yes, this, my friends, this is a very cheesy macaroni and cheese. I'm sure you're okay with that. Alright. So now, I had preheated my oven to 350 degrees, so be sure to do that before you start the recipe. And I'm just going to stick this in and let it bake for a little under 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes. And the best judge of when to take it out is when the edges start to get bubbly, the cheese starts to get melty and brown. You'll know. Alright, so while that's cooking, now we'll start on our roasted green beans.